And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, we're back after a few more days off. You know, it is summertime, so I can't do these every day. I'd like to do them every day, but I got to have a little breathing room and definitely take a little time for vacation because it is my vacation too at the same time. And I love doing it. We're back here on a Thursday, of course. Hard to believe it's a week to go left in June before we say July 1st, which is a week from tomorrow, and July 4th weekend. Presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at MitchMacs.com. For official Backstage Pass merchandise. You can check those guys out. And, of course, Hank Jr. Productions. And back here, of course, tomorrow, Judy Pastor is going to drop by sometime in the morning, about 11 o'clock. And then next week, we may have a big surprise coming up here on the show. You guys stay tuned for that, too, as well. Plus, a full slate of shows Monday through Friday of next week live on the YouTube channel and at the sportsguyspodcast.com. You can also check out the show at Nightwave Radio. .net too as well, a great internet station out of Oklahoma. Now you can also pick us up in the UK. So there you go. If you're in the UK, you can listen to the Backstage Pass over there too as well. Well, I tell you what, the first time I had this young lady come on, I was super impressed, and it'd been a while since we caught up, but I said, I got to reach out to her because there's a single called Married that's out there right now that's fun, entertaining, and just a lot of cool things happening in her camp right now. And the fact that some great media publications are behind her. And she's creating her own name out there in the industry. Mallory Johnson back here on the show. My friend, what's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me. This is awesome. I'm really excited to have a little chat and catch up.
I'm just excited to catch up with you too. So let's talk about, let's back up a little bit because I know last time we talked was the debut EP, which did fantastic. My goodness. Well, let's go from there. The momentum you build off of that into Hungover, and then, of course, Drunk Mind, Sober Heart. Wise Woman, take me through all this because it's been a whirlwind for you. And this is about a year and a half ago or somewhere since we last talked. But my God, the media buzz, a CMT, Billboard, all these endorsements. I'm sure it's been a fun ride for you, right?
Oh my gosh, it's been so fun. I think for any artist or songwriter, anyone in the industry, it's really cool to kind of reflect on even months. And when you look at years to kind of see things evolve and things shift. And for me, my sound too, I feel like from the debut EP that we chatted about, and then even going to Hungover and Drunk Mind, Sober Heart, I feel like my sound has been a little bit more different. I feel like I'm finding myself as an artist. I'm figuring out what I want to say. I'm, a co-writer on all the music I'm putting out. And yeah, it's just, I feel like pieces of me are kind of weaved through this music, and I feel like I'm more myself than ever. And so it's been really cool to be received in such a beautiful way, and people are on board with that. And yeah, so those singles did me well. And then, of course, Wise Woman, that collaboration I did with the West Coast Canadian duo, Twin Sisters, Twin Kennedy, that has been so amazing and opened so many doors. And that was just a really powerful project that I got to be a part of. And yeah, so now that's kind of transitioning into this new era, this new album that I've been working on with Kent Wells is producing it. And Married is kind of the new introduction to that album. So yeah, I'm really excited for everyone to hear it and laugh and sing along to it because it's definitely cheeky. It's definitely me. Anyone who knows me knows I love a good comedic moment. So there's lines in there that get a few laughs. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
What's it been like? I mean, in the past, we've talked about this. You've done some of the major festivals out there and some of the fairs and things like this, but opening up for those people like Blake Shelton and Carolyn Dawn Johnson, or sharing stages with people like that who are very synonymous in the industry for their work and their credibility and what they've done, Rascal Flatts and things like that. It must be mind-blowing even to have those memories as you move forward into this new phase of Mallory Johnson.
It is. And those opportunities and those performances for me is more of like sitting in a classroom because you're watching the best of the best do their thing. And I feel like you're missing an opportunity if you're not side stage trying to soak in anything you can take from those performances. And it's just so inspiring to see these people do what they do. And some of those people, some of those heroes I've actually gotten to collaborate with on this new project. So Carolyn Dawn Johnson is one of those people. So there's a song on my new record that I wrote with Carolyn, and she's actually singing the background vocals on it.
Ooh.
So she's become such a beautiful friend of mine. And she was also a part of the Wise Woman, the show that we filmed in Nashville. And so she's been a wonderful mentor and just one I could seek advice, and she's a sounding board. I love her so much. So it's really cool to see, like, these heroes of mine and people that I look up to in the industry are just all about lifting up the next group of artists, and she's been so wonderful. I hold everybody to that standard. I compare everybody to Carolyn Dawn Johnson because she's the best human ever.
Well, synonymous with the last names. The last names do go together there too.
Yeah,
Johnson and Johnson.
Pretty good last name. Yeah.
Pretty good last name to have. Well, take me back to this one because this created a lot of buzz. We mentioned the title, but I want to dive a little further into the song and the writing behind it. For Drunk Mind, Sober Heart, when that came out, hit a lot of people. Like I said, the buzz and CMT Billboard, some other things out there that people got that single into their hands. It really got behind you with that type of sound. And like you said, the sound changes from song to song and single to single. But when that one hit, I guess, open radio and, of course, your fans out there, that had to be fun to see that thing ride. Where did that originate from? What was the backstory of that one?
So for Drunk Mind, Sober Heart, that actually was an accidental write. It was St. Patrick's Day, I think back in 2018. And myself and my roommate, Kristen Bellows, and Tennille Arts, another really good friend of ours, we were having a girls' night for St. Patty's Day. And where I'm from, Newfoundland, Canada, I grew up on Irish, Celtic, Scottish, all that kind of music, right? So I had made like a playlist of Irish Newfoundland music, and we had it blasting all day. The girls came over in the afternoon. We were drinking margaritas and not green beer, unfortunately. We would have got too full on green beer. But we were having time with making pictures of margaritas and all dressed in green and barbecuing and all that fun stuff. And midnight rolls around, and we're definitely a few drinks in. And one of us got a text message from an ex-boyfriend and saying, you know, that classic, like, what are you doing? Are you up? That kind of thing. So, of course, we're kind of going to laugh out of it. And Tennille, actually, her back was turned to me and Kristen. She was at the counter stirring up another pitcher of margaritas. And she was like, oh, yeah, like kind of with an eye roll. You know, a drunk mind speaks a sober heart. And I'm like, this songwriter in all of us, right? You can't have a songwriter in any situation. We'll take advantage of any situation. So myself and Kristen just kind of looked at each other and then back at Tennille and said, you know, is there a song out there with that hook? Like, is there anything out there? And so we went on Google, didn't really find anything. And we're like, okay, we're doing it. And we sat down 12:30 in the morning after way too many margaritas and wrote this heartbreaking acoustic kind of singer-songwriter ballad. And thank goodness that we made a work tape, because I wouldn't have been able to recall the melody of it the next day if we hadn't recorded it on the spot. But I woke up, and it was one of those songs when you get really excited about a song, you want to keep playing it over and over. You want to be practicing it. You want to listen to the work tape. You just can't get enough of it. And that was me. The next morning, after the girls had left and we were feeling okay, I sat down with my guitar, and I just kept practicing the riff over and over and over and trying to sing along to that triplets happening on the guitar over and over and over. And I started playing it out, and it started to get a good response. And then when the time rolled around for me to record, I needed to release a single, and I was trying to narrow things down. And it very much, Drunk Mind, Sober Heart is a ballad, and it's acoustic. So it's not really the cliche radio friendly song. And so I had this song Hungover that I had recorded as well, or had planned on recording. And one of the guys on my management team was like, why do we have to just pick one? Why don't we do like a digital 45 and have like the A side being Hungover, the fun, more up-tempo radio song, partnered with the B side, which is the heartbreaking, you know, ballad, this acoustic kind of stripped down. So that's exactly what we did. And yeah, I'm really excited. Those two songs are actually going to be on the new record. I decided to put them on there. They fit the theme really well. So yeah. So yeah.
Look forward to that. That's going to be fun when the new record drops sometime here, 2022. I'm going to go back a little bit to the last time we were kind of diving into the EP, which was your self-titled EP, 2018. And one that blew me away, and even today continues to blow me away, is one of the best country songs ever written. One of the best things you put your vocals to was the song Run. Remind the audience a little bit, because that really, and of course I always say a song sets the tone for an album, and it ends on a great album out there. Any EP, and the work you guys do in the studio is fantastic. But
thank you.
Putting the vocals on something like that and seeing the life work, especially that song that really made that album, at least in my mind, in my opinion. Of course, there were all kind of great songs on there, but Run is just a fantastic song that you put your vocals to. And my God, man, well written. Tell the fans about that one, because I like to always retrace it, because that is just a great country song.
Well, that means a lot. That actually is my favorite song on that EP as well. And it was one that I never really, I mean, when I did live shows, I was always playing Tupelo or A Good Mistake to Make, because those were kind of singles. And, you know, I didn't write most of the songs on that EP. And then when I was writing a lot of new music, Run kind of got filtered out in my live show. But that is probably my favorite song on that EP, because it's so heartbreaking, and it's also been really cool to see people relate to it in different ways. You know, people related to obviously a relationship, which is the obvious one, but then some people started relating it to maybe losing a loved one and things like that. So it was very powerful to kind of hear different perspectives on the song. And I wish I wrote the song. I wish I could take that credit. And gosh, you know what? I wouldn't be able to tell you at this very moment, because it's been so long since I've sang it or talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to get the names wrong, so I'd have to look at the back of my EP to tell you who wrote it. But no, I love that song so much. So that means a lot that you kind of clung on to that one.
It didn't take long. I'll never forget where I was. I was actually going through a drive-through getting some food or something one day when we talked about that too. And I played it for my wife on the phone, and we put it on the radio there, of course, hooked up USB, and blasted it. And she goes, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Well, that's one of the young ladies coming on my show that is going to be the next superstar in country music." And she looked out and she just went, "Yeah, that's that's great writing. That's a great song, great vocals to that." She named off 4, 5, 6 different things. And I told her, I said, "Yeah, this is just the beginning of what's going to come for this podcast." And of course, Mallory as an artist too, because she's such a fantastic and beautiful voice there too. Well, I'm gonna go all the way. I mentioned the UK at the top, and we got a pretty good audience over there. We're actually broadcast on nightwaveradio.net. So one of my good buddies all the way from England, David, tunes in here and has this question, because I always love hearing people ask questions there too at the same time. So Cumbria in England, any instruments?
Hi, David. Nice to meet you. I do play instruments. I play an acoustic guitar, but also piano is actually my first instrument. I grew up playing piano. I started taking lessons when I was 3 years old. So during a live show, I usually kind of, if it's a longer show, I'll get on the piano for a song or two and do kind of like a solo moment. And so I do play a couple of those instruments. Thanks for asking.
I like that too. And the audience does get a little participation in. I'm going to ask you this real quick, because I love these, and I get to check out Apple Music. We'll take a break here in just a little bit for our sponsors, but I love music videos, and especially the lyric videos. You've got a cool one on Apple Music that's out there, and it was a single you guys put out 16, 17, somewhere in there. I'm trying to remember the year, but Good Mistake to Make. And it was a great lyric video that's out there on Apple Music. If folks hadn't checked it out, feel free to go check it out where you have your Apple Music subscription. Tell me about that, because it's always cool to make a lyric video. How much fun was that? And then at the same time, you put a great song to a great video at the same time.
Honestly, it was a challenge. It was the first time I had ever done like a lyric video, and it was the first time. So my brother is the videographer that I've used for all of my projects up to this point, for the most part. And he's just this phenomenal videographer. But graphics and lyric videos and like that kind of animation isn't his. Well, he can do it if he had to, but it's not his wheelhouse or whatever. So I remember we filmed like the parts where you see my face and everything like that. That was all fine and easy and good. And then it was like, well, how are we going to get the lyrics on the screen? I don't just want to have it like typed out, whatever animation. And so we wanted to try to figure out a cool way to go about it. And the hours we put into that, and like making sure the spelling was correct, and having to redo stuff because an apostrophe was in the wrong place. And just, I had to write everything out myself on like a whiteboard, and then try to like not be in the shot. And then it was just all this post work, this editing and stuff that my brother Cecil had to do. And it was a lot of work. It was honestly probably just as much work as a full production music video. But no, it was fun. It was a cool experience, and I think it turned out okay.
The project's Only the Strong Survive, and she survived that lyric video to put out some extra great songs out there too. Again, Married is the current single. Just came out there, I believe, June 17th. So make sure you guys go grab that across all the digital platforms. We'll take a time out. We'll come back and talk about it. I do want to dive into Wise Woman a little bit. Yes, we're still going to play rapid fire for those listening over there in the UK, and of course here in the States too at the same time. So we'll do more of that. And of course, if you want more of her, check her out on socials, and definitely MalloryJohnsonmusic.com out there too. You guys can check out the website for the latest tour dates and merchandise and all that good stuff there, as we always do for our artists to put out their socials and, of course, music and everything out there that we do as a podcast. We'll take a time out for Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at MitchMacs. More with Mallory Johnson is the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel and, of course, at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Back with more here with Mallory Johnson here in just a little bit. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, of course, it is summertime, so the times can vary, but be sure to check out the socials when we're going to be broadcast there, nightwaveradio.net, and, of course, our friends over at the sportsguyspodcast.com, the YouTube channel, wherever you find podcasts, you're more than likely to find the Backstage Pass right there with it. Of course, next week, a full slate of shows, and tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Time, our good friend Judy Pastor is going to stop by, talk about her latest single, and a whole lot more. We'll catch up with her here on the show. Back here with Mallory Johnson, presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMacs.com, and our friends at Hank Jr. Productions. And, of course, a big surprise that I cannot announce next week, but in the works of putting the finishing touches, kind of like a good song, finishing touches on that in the studio, as they would say with a good song, or my occasion would be an email. Yeah, Mallory knows what this is about, but I'm not going to tell anybody else till we have dotted I's and crossed T's, but we should get a huge superstar, an impact gentleman, I will say, in country music. It's making headlines here on the show. We'll hopefully have more announcement on that the weekend into Monday of next week. Back here with Mallory, the latest single is Married, and it's a fantastic song. It really brings out a lot of fun, and just, I mean, it's got this empowering introduction of it makes you look at it in a different light. Let's talk about this. Where did this one originate from? Because I want to dive more into this current single, because it's fun, it's uplifting, it's empowering. I know it's going to fit well with this full-length album coming up, the debut one you guys are working on right now. This is a fun song.
Thank you. I'm really excited about this song. So I was going to say, I'm in my early 30s, and all my friends are married, having babies, or at least engaged. And I am always the bridesmaid. Let's be honest here. So I have dusty rose dresses in my closet. I have emerald green and sage green dresses in my closet. I've been the bridesmaid many a times, and I've been the moral support at the dress fittings. I've planned the bachelorette parties. I've, helped do up the wedding dress on the special day. So I've definitely got to experience all of that, being, the best friends and celebrating those moments for my friends. And even though I'm not really ready for that myself, I don't have that person, so I don't envision that yet. I do sometimes wonder what it'd be like to be the one wearing white and everybody catering to me on a special day and celebrating love I found. And, I kind of get a little bit jealous about that. I'm like, oh, that'd be so much fun to be celebrating that. And so in many times in the past, I've said the phrase, I want the wedding, but I don't want to get married. I want the fun, but maybe not all the stuff that goes along with it. You know, the love without the commitment, the fling but not the ring. You know,
Mhm,
all that kind of thing. So I brought in this line to a writing session I had with Patricia Conroy and Jason Blaine. And it was the first time I was writing with them, and they're powerhouse songwriters, hit songwriters. And I wanted to make a good first impression. So I was like, I'm going to take this in because I really believe in this idea.
mhm.
And I feel like they're good ones to go and run with it. So I did. And even though they are both in very happily married relationships, they're both very, very happily married. They were totally on board for running with this idea. And we had so many laughs. The work tape is actually Jason singing it, which is even more funny.
Mhm.
And yeah, we just had a really great time with it. And then Kent, my producer, kind of put this swing to it, kind of on the spot. Our pre-production was just an acoustic similar to our work tape, but then when we had the whole band in there, it just was a whole different energy, and we kind of swung it. And I love the way it turned out. I've some really good friends on there, fellow artists that were still doing the gang vocals in the background, cheersing and drinking champagne. And yeah, it's turning out to be pretty fun. So it's really cool to see the way people are receiving it.
It's a great song. Like I said, fun, uplifting, empowering, whatever adjective you want to use. It's out there. It's just great, great tune. And you made me think of that phrase that I've heard from several friends over the years too. And even my wife would probably say that too. She goes, "Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride." That's what
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, so exactly. I wanted to, I feel like the single people don't get a wedding song. I wanted to have a song for those, or maybe someone who wishes they weren't married. Maybe someone who's looking for the divorce party. I don't know.
Well,
So yeah,
it's such a good thing. It's just a good song. Folks, if you hadn't checked it out, go check it out across the digital platforms wherever you download or stream your music. It's such a fun song. I love it so much. And it's not the first song that you've done that I've loved a lot. We mentioned a few titles here on the broadcast that we've done too. Hey, take me back to Wise Woman, because I know you got to co-produce and co-host, which was a show. You guys put it as a single. Tell me about this, because you had some amazing talent. You had Canadian female artists, critically acclaimed people. I didn't get a chance to check it out, but just everything I read about it, and I believe it was on Sirius XM Country as well. Break this down for me, because this song turned into even more than you probably could have expected.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that whole show, again, came off of the song, which was Wise Woman. And this song was one that I wrote with Julie and Carly Kennedy, who are the collaborators on the project. We released it as a collaboration. And it was just a song talking about the challenges of being a woman in a very male-dominated country music industry. And, sometimes when we were in a writing room, for example, or a session, sometimes our opinions weren't as valued as much as the guys. And, just the standard of like women are played as much on radio, and they're not headlining as many festivals. They're not, fronting a lot of labels. So it was kind of just talking about our challenges, but then it started to resonate with women in many other industries. And so then came the music video, which my brother Cecil directed as well and filmed. He was one of the film. We actually filmed the video in Newfoundland, which is where he's based, and Victoria, BC, and Nashville, Tennessee. We filmed women in all walks of life, all across North America, and we got to feature portraits of our mentors and our sisters, our moms, our best friends, and just people we really look up to. And like I said, again, all walks of life, different careers, different paths, different everything. And it's been so rewarding to kind of see all of those women celebrated. And so then it led to Wise Woman, the show. And we knew we wanted it to be more than just the song, and we wanted to feature so many amazing female artists in Canada, because we were all Canadian. So we wanted to feature the Canadian females who were residing in Nashville for this show. And it was presented by the Consulate General of Canada to the Southeast United States. So they got on board, and it was introduced by the ambassador. So that was really cool. And we got to feature Carolyn Dawn Johnson and Tennille Arts and Crystal Shawanda, Madeline Merlot, Molly Brown, Victoria Banks. I think that's everybody apart from myself and Twin Kennedy. And we all shared an empowerment song. We all sang a song acoustically for the show. And then we also gave pieces of advice as women in the industry or just in general. So yeah, it came together really beautifully. And we got some recognition with some of the award shows on the East Coast of Canada. And actually, we just found out we're second ballot for the Canadian Country Music Awards for the show. So it's been a beautiful ride. And, the awards are great, but the real reward for this project was to see so many women celebrated.
Well, it's just a great ride. And I'll say this too, because I love it. And I think it's crazy enough to say it too right now, but I'll go ahead and say it out there. It's becoming more female dominated now, because I see it every day, just putting so many talented females. I get sent so much stuff every day of people I hadn't heard of. So now opening up EPKs and different song links that I get sent out there as a media show host out there. It's pretty amazing. And then also we covered the CRS event, Country Radio Seminar, back in February of this year. And I met so many new artists that are coming up. It is just amazing to work in the music industry and to meet talent such as yourself and all this other great talent that's coming from not just Nashville, but all over the world. My God, it's just, there's so much talent out there. And the industry's healthy right now. It really is.
Yeah, I definitely think it's starting to shift in an awesome way. I do think it's changing, which is great. It's great to see the gatekeepers in the industry, making those moves. And yeah, there's a lot of, like you said, really talented females, emerging artists, and new females that are getting #1 songs, which is really great. So it's, I definitely think it's changing for the better. For sure.
Sure is. We saw a couple of them there, a couple of shows we went to, a couple of VIP events we got to go to. Two ladies dominating headlines now. Lindsay L, Lainey Wilson. It goes on and on. It's just, and of course, Carly Pierce, and the names just Ashley McBride. And one day we're going to say Mallory Johnson in that same category, because I just feel that we're going to do that here on the show. Make bold predictions. We're going to do that on the show. David, I love your questions. Yeah, this is probably going to be one. She's going to throw out a lot of titles for this one too. So I'm sure there's her own stuff, and I'm sure there's covers and a lot of stuff there. What can you elaborate there for David on songs on stage?
So for me, that's an easy one, and it's actually not one of my own songs. My favorite song to sing on stage is Dolly Parton's "Coat of Many Colors."
Okay,
that is the song that made me fall in love with country music. I grew up listening to my mother sing that song, and whenever my mom is in the audience at a show, I bring her up on stage and we sing that song together. And everyone says we sound identical. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's singing what line. So I definitely owe my voice to my mother. And so it's a really beautiful, special moment during the show. And I think it's the best moment of the show, when I get to have my mom up there and we get to sing a little bit of Dolly. So
can't go wrong with that. One of the greatest of all time, no doubt. In fact, I got to meet her, talk about another great, the other night. We went to a show out here where I'm from, here in Texas, and the great Crystal Gale. I got to meet, like I said, in person, just to talk to her about music and ideas in general. She performed a hell of a show, and after, she stuck around to have a few words. So if you sing Dolly on stage, and there you go. I concur with you. You can't go wrong with the legends. Tell me about this. You've done so much, like I said, just early in your career, but this is a pretty cool step for you. You mentioned the debut full-length album coming out here in 2022, but at the same time, to put a Grammy-nominated producer such as Kent Wells, the track record in the business, all the things that he's accomplished on his resume, how exciting is this to put a name such as that on a project you're excited about to put out to fans?
It's a lot of pinch me moments. It's really, really exciting. And he's been so wonderful to work with. Even though he wears the producer hat, he has let me take a lot of creative control and kind of wear that producer hat as well. And he's been so supportive, and he really believes in the music. And he compiled all of these stellar musicians that I'm huge fans of. And there was a lot of like happy tears in pre-production and post-production and just in the studio. And I just felt so seen and so heard. And I feel like we were really much on the same page in terms of what I wanted, the story I wanted to say, and the sound that I wanted to go for. And it's just been the most amazing experience. And I'm really, really thankful to have his name on the project.
It's a good name to have, no doubt about it. Well, I'll tell you, as we kind of dive into the final few minutes of the show here, again, check her out, MalloryJohnsonMusic.com, and the single Married you guys can get wherever you stream or download music, or the iTunes store, or do what I do. Just get Apple Music and listen to it as many times as you want to. No pun intended, no free pub there, but Apple Music is one of the best I stick behind here on the show that I pay for. So definitely a subscription. If I say it's worth it, go get it if you guys don't have it, because can't tell you how many times I've made playlists and shuffles of Mallory's music and then played it over and over again. And there you go. Like I said, spins, they all count for these things going on today. So click it out there, visit the website. All right, let's have a little fun. I want to do a little rapid fire with you. Can't wait for this new album to come out. And let me ask you this. You mentioned about females in the industry, the struggle they've had over the past 15 or 20 years in a kind of male-dominated industry there, that being music. Wise Woman came out and what you guys were accomplishing there. For you individually, what's been the toughest challenge being a female artist just for Mallory Johnson?
I don't know if it's so much being a female artist, but just an artist in general. It's the imposter syndrome and the comparison game. We're always kind of comparing our milestones to somebody else's. And, you know, in this industry, success is never linear and no one's path is the same. So sometimes it's difficult to kind of see like, okay, I did this too, but how come I'm not getting this same outcome? So comparison is the killer. That's been a struggle. And of course the imposter syndrome, where it's like, I go from, I really love this and how this sounds, and I really believe in this, to be like, is it okay? Like, are people going to like this? Are people going to hate me? Like, I don't know. So it's that constant struggle of, you know, at the end of the day, just really having to believe in the product and who you are, and authenticity is key. So sometimes that can be scary, but it's necessary. So
I love that. It's an authenticity and makes it like a good flavor of ice cream. And that's where I'm going with this here, because you've got that just good flavor in your voice, and you pick any flavor you want out there. A good song and a good artist is a good artist. A good song is a good song. Good songwriter is a good songwriter. For you lately, what have you been getting into with food cravings? I know for me, it's been like, I never used to get into sweets, but now I'm kind of going, man, I like mint chocolate chip. Damn, I want to eat that for dinner. It's like, it's bad, but when I want it, I want it. And of course, I'm trying to work out more and do that, blah, blah, blah. But for you, what's been the latest food cravings or I guess beverage? We'll throw it in the same category.
Oh, it's the queso and margaritas for me. that's a no-brainer. All you gotta do, I mean, I could be doing so good with eating throughout the day. As soon as someone says, want to go for tacos or queso, I'm like, I'm there, already in the car.
I love that. All right, back to the 90s country artist. You received a huge endorsement from one of the greatest of all time. He's done it all in his career, Sammy Kershaw. It's on your website. People can definitely read the endorsement out there. But and I even look at it too, and I'm like, how did this girl get lost in the shuffle? My God, she is so super talented. What did that mean to have Sammy put a stamp? And I know I asked you this last time, but for the people that didn't get to hear the audio show that we did, to have one of the greatest of all time, again, like a Kent Wells or a Sammy Kershaw, behind Mallory Johnson music, it has to be mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, it's that validation, right? It's kind of hearing that from these people who have been in the industry at that level for as long as they have. And yeah, it's going back to that imposter syndrome. When you have somebody like that telling you, no, we believe in you, and they're not like blood related to you. It's not your mom. Your mom and dad are always going to tell you you're great. But when you have somebody at that caliber that believes in you and supports what you're doing and really thinks that you deserve a spot in that type of spotlight. Yeah, it was the validation. It was amazing to hear. And it was very motivating. And and now I'm in Nashville. So I owe a lot of that to Sammy. He was that open door to get here to Music City. So I definitely owe that to him for sure.
Right where you belong. There you go. There's a title for a song right there too as well. She's right where she belongs in Nashville, Tennessee. And next time we get up there, it'll probably be March of 2023 for CRS. And definitely I'm already putting you on my list of people to interview in person or somewhere there at the Omni. We'll definitely do that. If you're attending, we'll definitely going to get together and hell, go out for just like you said, queso, tacos, and a margarita. How's that?
Yeah, I'm not going to do an interview unless there's queso.
Let's just okay. Well, I'll bring queso to the table right there, right there too as well. So we'll definitely do that. Again, check her out, MalloryJohnsonMusic.com. The single "Married" across all the digital platforms. I'm going to finish with this one too. Do you remember the first title, or do you remember the title, I should say, or what was the song about of the first song that you ever wrote or put out to the public? The title, or what was the song about?
I don't know if this was the first song that I ever wrote, but the very first song that I recorded as a songwriter was when I was 11 years old, and it was my family Celtic band called the Cormiers, and the song was called "Moving Away," and it was about a best friend that was moving away from hometown to go to Fort McMurray, and because their parents left for work. So it was just this pretty sad ballad of this little girl losing her best friend. So yeah, that kind of sparked, I guess, me not just wanting to be a singer, but being a songwriter as well, because I don't really sway one way or the other. I really kind of go right down the middle with that. I very much consider myself a songwriter as I do a singer. So yeah, that was the moment. That was a pretty monumental moment for me, I think, as an artist.
I love that. And it's definitely worked out real well for you. And like I said, you're early in the career, still building on it too. Great to just see you in Nashville. Great to catch up again. My goodness, it's been a while since we had spoken. I'm just so glad you can have you as a great friend, a great artist, and one of the pure talents out there in the country music industry on the female side that's kicking ass and taking names and songs that are just coming out and pouring out of your soul that just really makes music well worth listening to out there. Congratulations, all the early success. There's more coming, hands down, no doubt about it. And I'm looking forward to doing this again when the full-length album comes out. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you so much, Brandon. This has been so much fun. And, I really appreciate all those kind words. That really means a lot to me. And yeah, I can't wait to do this again. We have more music to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about too. And we're not going to let a year go by before we do that again, no doubt, or somewhere in there too. But definitely you guys can get all the songs out there and what we talked about. Married, the current single, of course, Drunk Mind, Sober Heart, the song Run we talked about, Wise Woman, and a whole lot more. So make sure you guys go check out MalloryJohnsonMusic.com. And of course, give her a like on socials out there too, because everybody loves to be liked on the social media pages. Find the music, download it, get those spins going, and give her a like on all the social media out there. We'll come to you, of course, and check out the full-length album once it's released. Tomorrow on the show, our good friend, Nashville recording artist Judy Pastor is going to drop by next week. A huge announcement. Stay tuned to the socials. It's a blockbuster. We get this thing nailed down, which I'm pretty confident we're going to do that, no doubt about it. He's one of the hottest names in country music right now. And yeah, you look forward to that coming up next week here. And of course, we'll have some surprises. You never know who's going to stop by here on the Backstage Pass. Thanks to all the sponsors. Again, if you missed the program today, we'll flip it out later today on Mallory's socials. And of course, like I said, check us out, the Sports Guys podcast.com, the YouTube channel, and all that good stuff, and nightwaveradio.net. We'll see you guys tomorrow in the morning. I got to do a morning show, 11 a.m. Judy Pastor, wake up a little early. We'll have fun with that. Thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMacs.com, and our friends over at Hank Jr. Productions. We'll see you guys on the flip side tomorrow morning, bright and early, 11 o'clock. I guess 11 o'clock Central Time. You get to sleep in. That's a good thing. So we'll see you then with Judy Pastor, and then a full slate of shows next week, including the blockbuster announcement we're all waiting on to. As soon as they get it, dot I's, cross T's, nailed down, we'll put it out there for you guys on the social media, so you can be sure and tune in for that one too. We'll see you next time tomorrow on the Backstage Pass, 11 a.m. Central. Again, it's nightwaveradio.net and at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Until then, we're signing off. See you soon.